Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Boa noite, pessoal. Buenas noches. Mais uma live, our second live stream. Now, from now on, I will only speak in English until our Q&A at the end. Let me welcome you to our second live stream. Today we'll be covering some very interesting topics. Let me just check if the presentation is already live for you guys. And then we can start. Oh, it's already. Let's go. First, a friendly reminder. Our game jam starts tomorrow. And if you haven't joined yet, please join our community. Our Discord channel will be the hub of this game jam. From now on, every contact we're going to have, it's going to be in our mentorship channels and our DAO channels. Everything is already set for you guys. You just have to enter Surprise UGC, our Discord server, and then accept the role related to the jam, and then all the channels will be available to you. So let's go starting our second live stream. Today we'll be covering platform best practices, UEFN trends, latest features, very cool topics today we'll be covering. And we're going to start with UEFN best practices. Here at Surprise, we have developed a keen and a very attentive look at the UEFN ecosystem, what kind of games there is, what kind of games have the most traction. And we have a free report that we make available each quarter. So every 3 months, we release a trend report for free for the good of the community. And I'm going to later this evening present our latest report. So we're always looking for, studying, playing every game there is. And it is an ecosystem with several types of games. You have like some of the examples here in this slide, only escape room, sports, red versus blue, more PvP style maps, racing, box fight, death run, zone wars, parkour, prop hunt, role play, horror, survival, 1v1, memes. This is just a small demonstration, but we use these slides like to separate two customer segments that are in the UEFN ecosystem, two kinds of audiences, two customer segments. The first one is a customer segment that is looking to play Fortnite-like experience. So if they join, they click on a game and they start the gameplay and the camera is too different, they quit. They want this very same game modes, same map styles. They're focused on practice, so they play this without actually being open to new things. These kind of maps, they are very successful in the platform. They have a higher entry barrier, and they have longer lifetime value. So the maps last longer. There are maps, there are hits on the platform in this segment. There are available since the Fortnite Creative 1.0, the first version. There wasn't even a UEFN yet, the creative mode, and their maps are still alive because they have this kind of longer lifetime value. And then there's another customer segment, which basically was born after the creation of the UEFN. There's players that are looking for more casual experiences. So they have more interest in playing a wide variety of casual games. So the examples I showed you before, sports related, and then death runs, and then horror. They're multi-thematic also, and they have lower entry barrier. This is the place where beginners in the platform should, in our opinion, take their first shot on. But the maps have shorter lifetime value. It's like a trade-off. You enter quicker, you enter with more ease, but as a trade-off, the map doesn't used to last that long. This is changing. Although this is changing, we have some casual maps that have a very long lifetime. but they are like the top maps of the platform today. So this is why in this jam we have like a category, we have like a premise that we should avoid PvP maps, and there are reasons why. So, even though they are the larger audience, even though they have the extended lifetime, PvP maps have two key issues that we decided to set aside for this game jam. The first one is it is very hard to grasp if you're outside the Fortnite ecosystem, if you're not a Fortnite player, if you're not used to creating Fortnite experiences. Is you need a very deep understanding of the Fortnite mechanics. You need a very deep understanding of which weapons the players like or dislike using. And it is what makes or breaks PvP maps. So if you're not an insider, it's very difficult. So for the purpose of the game jam, which is attract new developers, people that are not creating the platform yet, we decided PvP maps weren't a very good ideas, shouldn't be the focus. And the other reason is the latest PvP maps that managed to overcome this higher entry barrier are those that made partnerships with huge influencers. So you have Bugas and Game, you have multiple examples in the platform that managed to overcome this challenge, that is to have a successful PvP map, but they did it mostly with the help of big influencers. This is not also the purpose of the game jam. So we thought that closing the scope on casual games would be the best for now. But there's a twist. There's a something you can do to tweak it. That is to transform a PvP map into a casual one. And we had this dev strategy into the box fight landscape. We studied box fight is just a regular PvP mode, and we were watching how variations of game styles happen. So, for example, there is the box PvP, the traditional. It has several players in a closed box, and they build around and they fight each other, basically. So you can try to step up like Future Trash did, which was one of the biggest creators in the world in the UEFN landscape. They did both a collab and they raised the bar in production value. So they did this amazing, beautiful, very well crafted box, and they use visuals and UI, everything to set the bar very high on production value to succeed in the box fight war. And then there's lateral variations, which is like the same experience, but with a very sharp focus. Like you can play it in duos, you can play 3v3, you can play only trios against each other, only duos, ranked, and then you add like small increments that we call lateral variations at Surprise, but it's small increments in the same game mode. You don't create much, you just add something that you see the audience demands. So this is why you have to be an insider to make lateral variations and to know what you're going to tweak that's going to be valuable. For example, these rapid box fights is because if you use the regular round system in Fortnite, you have a long waiting time. So they made custom rounds, so you have zero wait and you're always playing, and this is value proposition for our audience. So if you're not an insider, you take longer to understand these gaps, and it's harder to transform it. And then in last year in the box fight landscape, there was a phenomenon. There was the superpower trend that maps started to increment box PvP with added superpowers that quickly became thematic superpowers, and it was a major hit in the platform. Every creator was trying their shot at the thematic superpower box fight. There was every team you can think of: soccer, memes, superheroes, and specific animes. There was thousands and thousands of thematic box fights. It was like the meta at that time. And then we noticed there was one map that tweaked the superpowers into mini games. So instead of the traditional box fight, you had a mini game map that happened inside box fights. You had different styles. So you have Flores Lava and many other different games inside the scheme of box PvP. And then what we did as surprise, as a strategy, was to anticipate that mini games box PvP would also be thematic. So we did an anime box mini game. It's not even up. It didn't uh, hit. It wasn't a hit. But the strategy here is that you can follow the trends, and it changes like in weeks. These trends go and change. And this mini game map is still successful until today. The original one. And this is how we can get inspiration from PvP maps, and they can become casual. Like it can become a mini game, but it has this long. If it was a mini game in another environment, it wouldn't be as successful as it is being in a box PvP setting. This is very interesting and creative. So as I said, the scope of our jam is not to focus on people that are looking forward to play Fortnite-like experiences, play in a battle royale, or crazy red versus blue, like it's one of the most famous game modes that repeat a 1v1, even a zone wars map. We're looking forward to evaluating more casual experiences. It's very broad, so it doesn't have a specific theme. It's just you're just focusing on not a PvP. It doesn't mean you can have combat. It doesn't mean you can have weapons. You can use it. You can be creative with it and bring other kinds of experience. You can have a boss fight, for example, and it doesn't fall into the PvP category. So it's more PvE, and it's okay for us. And there are 3 final pro tips we'd like to leave if you have never designed a Fortnite experience. The first one, you have to consider the matchmaking is third party, is controlled by Epic. So you should design for multiplayer, but also plan for single player. One of the reasons some of our maps have flopped in the past is because we only designed for a full lobby, and a game that has to work with a full lobby, but the matchmaking, we can't control it. Sometimes it has a half lobby and then another half, never a full one. You can actually define how it works. So always plan what the players are going to be doing if it's a single player. One example, we did a Fall Guys games recently. It has a don't press the button. Every time someone presses the button, starts a mini game, and all the mini games we put in this game, they can be played with a single person. It's like an only up or a race. It's boring, a race alone, but it's doable. You are not lost, and that's the time the first player has to like be entertained until another one joins, and then the game starts happening and growing from there. Pro tip number 2, timing is what makes or breaks games. This is specifically useful for those of you who want to keep on doing Fortnite games after the jam. Be attentive of the timing, because the algorithm, they will test your conversion and your retention rates in the first hours, the first days of launch. And then, of course, you can update and try to reverse and get another shot. But the thing is, be very cautious of when you post the game, when you send it, when you publish it, send it to approval. It's crucial, and it can be a force that is positive or negative to your game. And the pro tip number 3 is to focus on Fortnite creative audience, and specifically in the niche we talked about. But we inserted this as a pro tip because the most common mistake that happens in game jams is to develop games for your own taste and not the audience. And we wanted to set this as a reminder, because it's important to think about the algorithm, think about the community, and build a casual game around it, not just I like this, let's post it. It diminishes the chance of your success. So we thought of curating a few of your first steps, and then we thought of personas that would be joining this game jam. So we have recommended first step, whether you've never opened UEFN, you don't know what it is, how it looks like. And if you have already used UEFN but you need to catch up, we also have two options of content for you. The first one is for the beginners, the ones that, oh my God, I'm going tomorrow to open an engine, or today I can download it already. I'm going to open it. I don't know what to do with it. And then we really recommend that you check this link. It's Clever Like UEFN Creator School. They have a huge broad of courses on UEFN. You can go to specific courses like, oh, I have the role of level design, so I'm going to check landscapes. I'm going to check lining. And then there's another one in your team. Oh, I'm going to be the developer. I'm going to focus on coding with Verse because I don't know Verse. I know Python, I know C#, but I don't know Verse. Go specific to this course in Clever Like, or even everyone that have never opened the interface. There is a getting started course that walks you through the interface, and it changes the way your next 4 days are going to be if you watch this hour of the very in a very micro way. They explain everything. They explain how to navigate the platform. If you haven't used it, it really helps. It's an hour. It's like if you have 8 hours to get down a tree, you would spend some time sharpening the axe. Watching these classes, these master classes, a few of them, at least the first one that explains the interface, is the best sharpener of the axe. So you can chop the tree way, way, way easier. But if you already have used UEFN, you just need to update, understand what's going on lately. We have the first one is Surprises Lab. When you access lab.surpriseugc.com, you can check our latest trend report we published yesterday. We have an idea framework that are going to be presenting to you today, but you have access to this file for free. Everyone in the community have. We post those as insight and intelligence and frameworks for the community because we want to see better games in the platform. And we're also going to be posting some case studies of hit games, what they're doing right in our vision. And then we also curated a few quick links on our Discord server. So make sure you're on the Discord server. You can access the useful links channel. You're going to find every presentation from the live streams of yesterday and today. You're going to find so much info about and links and other tutorials and other creators on UEFN. You're going to have creator insight. Apart from us, Epic has a documentary series like that. They invite other creators to give some insight for newcomers, and a new material that we developed for the jam, that is a playbook from Unity to UEFN. We have interviewed some of our developers that made this migration, and they have curated some tips for you to make this transition way, way, way easier. I think they'll be transformative also for those who are making the same movement. This is the quick link, so make sure to check it. Is the first step you should make today or even tomorrow, just before you start making the game actually. And now I would like to present, it's perhaps a bit too advanced material. It's more to catch up on what's going on in UEFN later, but I think it would be nice to present it to you today, because you can understand how the platform moves. Despite the specific trends, you can abstract that. It would be interesting to understand the movements, and in the end we have two things that are not going to be useful for the specific game gen, but it showcases the growth of the UEFN ecosystem and what's coming for the next few months. We really encourage you to open your minds of this possibility of working with UEFN and making Fortnite games. So this is how the UEFN trend map goes. This is a material that surprises, always making every quarter and then posting on lab. We evaluate 3 levels of trend, the moments that what's hot right now, but they are temporary. They pass very, very fast. And then the second level, which are trend signals. they grow impact over time. And then the third level, which is trend forces, that they redefine the whole ecosystem. They change the way people make games in the platform. The first one is a moment, just temporary thing, which is the proximity chat. If you remember yesterday, I told you that proximity chat is one of the features that is going to qualify your game to the Innovation Award, which is a specific tier of award. And they started to be implemented already in games that have a community. Experiences that are tailored specific for proximity chat might come soon, even maybe in the gem. Second trend is Lumberjack lookalikes. Lumberjack Heroes is a hit game from its Jackie. It has inspired many creators to combine a very complex and well-balanced game design with a mobile-like gameplay. Very simplified level design and mechanic wise, but the complexity in its game design makes you hooked. And then after Lumberjack Heroes, there are several other games, including one of our own. Guardian Heroes is a game by surprise. We did very inspired. This is one of the games we're going to be posting case study in lab later this week. There's the thumbnail. And then Fall Guys First Wave is another moment that happened in the last 3 months. The most successful categories in Fortnite Fall Guys maps were mini games, very similar to Lego, soccer simulations, and versions of classic UEFN games, but in Fall Guys using their very funny characters, the beans. And the final one we are seeing as a trend is boss fight comebacks. New and OG boss fights are trending again, so they are happening. They were dormant for a bit. They were a hit like 1.5 years ago, and now they are back at full steam. Now let's get to trend signals. We have finishers, which is a way to create animations via player half device, and this is very promising because they are in a very early stage, but it can evolve in multiple creative ways. I'd recommend you to play at least one of those games just to see what's possible. It's like they're creating like fatality moments into Fortnite. This is very creative, and they're a hit. They were included into the mini game box PvP as a mini game. Every trend that's happening is usually into this game as well. We have the new payout formula impact. This is more for ongoing creators. They changed a bit the way the payout happens to stimulate creators to bring new players into Fortnite or re-engage inactive players. They have a specific recalibration of the payout formula. It changes a bit of the way you think and the way you promote your game, your islands. And then the final one is a trend force, which is Fortnite back on mobile. We recommend everyone that already have experiences to review their experiences and think how they would work on mobile. It is back on iOS, only in Europe, and on Android. It is not through Play Store or Apple App Store, but through Epic Game Store. But yet, it's Fortnite back on mobile. We must already prepare for it. You can see the dimension, that transformation it can have on every game and the platform. So this is the trend for the past quarter. And for the next one, we already have, like, it ended yesterday, the quarter. And today we already have 2 new things that are going to be great opportunity for creators. Disclaimer here is these 2 things are not suited for the game jam. Do not use any of those in the game jam. You're going to see they're in experimental. You can create things with it in the platform, but don't do it and apply it to the jam because you won't be allowed to publish in time. The first one is the Fortnite first person. It is available as an experimental feature in UEFN, and you will be able to publish it only later this year. You don't even have a set date yet. They would be released in beta, and then you can upload it but don't do it for the gem. You can play with it a bit, but don't add it to your island because you won't be able to finish your subscription. The second one is a partnership that Fortnite did with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, great. Tartarugas Ninja. They did it. So they partnered with Paramount, and every island that use these assets, they have to give 15% of the engagement payout of the island to Paramount, as they own the IP. But as a trade-off, you get to create a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. You can have the characters, you have the weapons, you have everything, but you can only publish the island starting November 13. As you know, our gem has to be finished by November 1st. We have the award session at November 1st, so we won't have time to it. So don't use it. I'm just showing you this, especially for you guys that don't know the platform yet and would like to think of working with UEFN after the gem, just to showcase, wow, they are pre-constructing deals for creators that they can use and create future games. The possibilities are endless, since Fortnite is one of the games that have most collabs and IP partnerships. So if it keeps happening, it's like paradise for creators like me and you. Finally, I'd like to talk about another material we have that can help creators, specifically at this stage that you find yourselves right now, which is the idea framework. How do you think about new experiences in the UEFN? Starts with a big idea. We use this usually at Surprise. It's like, what's the idea for the game? What's the big idea behind the game? And there are many ways, multiple ways a big idea can be born. We used to say that every person have an idea for a game, and every game developer have at least 10 ideas for a game at every moment. So how do we decide which idea to build and how to stimulate them to come up the surface? Right? How do we structure these 140 character description of ideas? And there are usually 5 starting points that we find most common. First one is from scratch, like an original concept, but they are rare on the platform. They can happen, but they are rare. The first one that is usually a very common path is the deja vu. It's like UEFN classics, but with a twist. You get the only up, that is a hit, and then you create a horror only up. It's a new twist to the experiences people are familiarized with. You can make this happen, and it is already a big idea. Like, let's make an only up that has horror elements. It is a big idea already. Then you have translation, which is bringing existing games to Fortnite. As an example, you have chess, you have Uno, you have multiple games that can actually, there are hits in other platforms, and you adapt it and you translate it. It's not always just a copy and paste. It's not like that, but you have to adapt it to Fortnite. And then you can be inspired by fragments, not just by whole games that are already existing. You can be inspired by a mechanic. You can create or identify a device or mechanic that you really like and create a big idea around it. So for example, our latest game that we launched was Harvest Heroes. One of our devs developed, Nathan, developed a mechanic that you would turn into a lawn mower and cut grass as you go, as you walk, as you go to the field. And then we designed the full game using inspiration also from multiple games like Lumberjack Heroes, and also how to balance the economy, how to balance the refinements and all. And we built a game around the mechanic. And then there's the fourth path, which is affinity. You can create a game around a popular theme or specific interest. Like you have survival games, which is, of course, it's inspired, of course, in the Battle Royale of Fortnite, but it was specifically in a thematic manner inspired by Hunger Games. You had the whole arena very similar to it. There's another game that falls into this category that can create around a popular interest, which is like Gym Tycoon. You know, kids are very successful nowadays with gym content. And then there's the Gym Tycoon. You feel like you're getting stronger and all. It is reading of the generation, reading of the audience that you can then build a game around it. So after this matrix, you have the big idea, and then you go to you can see it's like divided. You have the left side of the matrix, focus on déjà vu and translation, and you have the right side, which is new mechanics or new themes and ideas. So in the left, you have a red ocean, which you should be making a market-driven development. You should outdo the competition. And then on the right, you have blue ocean to create a new kind of concept. So there are 5 ways you can get your big idea from. And then you have to answer 3 questions at Surprise to make a game after a big idea. The first one is, why do it specifically now? So we always ask our devs to explain the rational or even emotional reasons that justify the development of this game in this specific moment. Second one is how to attract players, explain which factors will bring players to click into the thumbnail, what's our bet on, and then how to retain players, explain the strategy for the players to understand the game, which is the first step, and then stay in the game, and the third one, to return to the game. In other words, we have a few keywords here. In the why do it, you can answer like with trends, with timing, with vision, with a feeling that you have, or with synergy. We can get what we already made in the past game and use it like to have more advantage in synergy and efficiency in our production. In attracting players, you can always draft thumbnail ideas, have keywords specific for naming that would attract the audience, and think about a differentiation. Like everyone is doing this kind of experience, we're going to have that factor to attract them, like make this different twist. And finally, to retain players, we used to think on 3 key parts. The first 5 minutes is like you must be very clear in what's going to be your hook for the game. It has to be very clear what's going to hook them and make them understand the key mechanics. Then you have engagement loop, what's going to keep them hooked and triggered into the game. And finally, the replay factor. Would they come back to play it again, and why? So this is a very cool, very quick template you can use, and you can discuss different ideas and see which one is stronger in attraction, which ones are stronger in retention. What can you do to like make the stronger idea in all 3 elements? So that's it. I'm going to open for Q&A right now. I'm going to close the presentation, and then you can ask questions. I'm going to answer all of them, and then we start the jam tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it, and I also get to speak Portuguese right now, since the questions are coming in Portuguese. Então vamos lá. Se o mapa tem combate, mas não no estilo padrão do Fortnite, com box fight, etc. Apesar disso, ele pode ser considerado como casual para os termos de vocês? Cara, combate player versus player acaba entrando um pouco nesse ramo de PVP. O critério ele vai ser muito o que tem ao redor. Claro que pode ter um mapa que tem elementos de PVP e mantém sendo jogo casual. O lance é se ele está sendo um mapa de prática para você melhorar no Fortnite, se ele tem construção. Se tem construção, por mais que tenha elementos casuais ao redor, não dá para ser considerado casual, né? Muito específico, acaba direcionando. Meu conselho seria você pensar que existem esses 2 grupos de audiência. Existe a galera de, cara, eu quero entrar e jogar um negócio muito parecido com Fortnite, ou exatamente o Battle Royale. Né? Ou não, ou pô, tô aberto a coisas novas. Se tiver combate dentro de um mapa que você considera que tá falando com esse público de, pô, tô aberto a coisas novas, um negócio diferente, aí tudo bem. Então aí tudo bem ter combate. Um exemplo disso seria um Tycoon que eles fizeram, que era PVP. Então era um Tycoon normal, você ia passando, desbloqueando a casinha, e no meio da arena tinha uma boss fight e tinha combate entre os players ali. Mas se você ia um na casa do outro, não dava para ter combate. Mas se você ia lá para boss fight tentar pegar um recurso a mais, acho que era o Battle Tycoon que chamava. Então ele tinha essa característica. Então ele equilibrava bem, era um jogo casual que tinha combate. E aí tudo bem, estaria ok. Acho que o único ponto é o combate não ser a única coisa, o centro de tudo é você matar o outro cara, né? Ter o PVP ali, aí fica difícil de enquadrar como casual. E aí não estaria dentro dessa premissa. Mas boa pergunta. Slides de ontem disponibilizados, os de ontem e os de hoje, com certeza, tanto em português quanto em inglês. Vamos subir ali nos links úteis, assim como com a apresentação que acho que já está lá, a da Unity para UEFN, né? Quais são as dicas ali, entrevistas que nós fizemos. Mas obrigado aí, Rafa, pela pergunta. Quem mais? Mapas feitos para ser single player ou co-op se encaixam com o que vocês esperam na Game Jam? As duas opções valem, assim. Acho que tem um exemplo também do mapa de Farm Life, se não me engano, que ele é completamente, não é single player, né, mas ele é só versão, você só consegue jogar em salas privadas, só salas fechadas. Você pode jogar com mais alguém, mas é alguém, um amigo seu que vai entrar junto contigo, nunca vai estar aberto e do nada entra alguém que você não conhece. Então, dá para ter mapas casuais bem legais single player, dá para ter mapas ainda mais legais com elemento social, com co-op. Então, cabem as duas coisas, isso não é um limite, depende muito da ideia que vocês tiverem. Adriano, lembro de você perguntou ontem, o pessoal da Jam falou que sim, não tem nada que... Inclusive, até ressaltar que o pessoal da Jam é o pessoal da Indie Hero, Game Jam Plus, estão fazendo toda a organização aqui para a gente, excelente, vão estar acompanhando aí todo o processo também, estão fazendo acontecer. Confirmaram, não tem problema nenhum rolo com o regulamento, você estando presente no time, tá valendo. Mika Bosch, existe a forma do sucesso para chegar na final da Game Jam? Cara, para mim existe a forma do sucesso sempre, assim, é o que eu falo bastante na Surprise ali pro pessoal, que é, parece, né, a gente falou, apresentei aí todo o idea framework, né, todo o racional para chegar, mas no fim é só sobre a paixão das pessoas, o tesão que as pessoas estão em botar aquele game em pé. Eu acho que isso transparece para os players, transparece mais do que para avaliadores de uma competição, transparece para quem está jogando, e quando isso acontece é meio que a forma do sucesso dentro e fora de uma game jam. Boa, Mika Bosch. Mr. Boney, os mapas desenvolvidos pelas equipes vão ser publicados nas contas dos próprios devs? Excelente pergunta, e também um disclaimer aí, pessoal que não é novo na UEFN, entre no canal desse senhor, Mr. Boney, ele faz vídeos também essenciais, assim, para quem está começando, já entender o lance que eu falei de interface, que a Cleverlike faz, o Boney faz de um jeito mais leve, mais divertido de ver, assim, é muito legal o conteúdo deles, da Cleverlike, mas o Boney, se você é brasileiro, vai entender português, recomendo muito ir para o canal dele, ver a série ali que ele fez. E sim, os mapas vão ser publicados na conta dos próprios devs, sim. 100%. Adriano, com quais critérios vocês irão avaliar para decidir qual é o melhor projeto? Muito boa pergunta também. Acho que tem critérios técnicos ali que a gente vai entrar, por isso a gente pede, e aí aproveito para lembrar, de incluir ali 5 pessoas do time, da Surprise, dentro dos times, que a gente avalia como foi feita, né, toda a construção do game, mas acaba sendo nos 3 eixos principais ali que a gente comentou. Tem um lado técnico, onde a gente vai avaliar arte, né, level design e arte em geral, vai avaliar game design, a gente vai avaliar programação versus, se tiver, né, código, programação, esse é o lado técnico. E o lado negócio, a gente vai estar olhando os 3 fatores que eu falei, que é elementos de retenção, elementos de atração e ideia no geral, né? Timing, seguindo tendências, se essa ideia faz sentido com o ecossistema do Fortnite ou não. Então são esses 6 critérios no geral, 3 técnicos e 3 mais avaliando a ideia. Que horas a Jam vai começar? Se não me engano, começa amanhã às 6 horas. O pessoal da Jam me corrija aí por mensagens, se não, mas começa amanhã às 6, mas teremos ali um encontrinho, todos os dias, né? Na verdade, a gente vai ter um encontro ali às 6 horas no nosso Discord. 6h30, aí me atualizaram, muito bom. 6h30 começa, estaremos lá no Discord, estarei lá também para falar com vocês. A gente vai ter devs de apoio o tempo todo, então vai ser bem bacana, assim. Corrido, mas vai ser legal. Espero que estejam ansiosos, mas boa pergunta aí. Mais alguma, galera? Opa, boa. Aí o pessoal... Aqui embaixo o linkzinho, entrar, faço parte, já tem ali canal de dúvida e tudo mais. Eu vi até um ponto aqui, ó, putz, Bonnie na parada azedou o caldo. Essa foi boa. O cara realmente é muito bom, mas lembra que tem as premiações, né? São 10 finalistas, tem premiação de inovação, tem premiação para os iniciantes especificamente, né? Pessoas que a gente vê que nos critérios técnicos ali falta ainda, mas que nos outros 3, que são os critérios mais de ideia, retenção, atração, fizeram um bom trabalho. Se não tivesse desbalanceamento, pode ser que tenha também a premiação de revelação, que eu contei ontem. Quem não viu, vai estar disponível o material para vocês darem uma olhada em como está dividido toda a premiação. Pergunta do Diego Ferreira: precisa ficar on no Discord? Cara, não, o tempo todo não. A gente vai estar de forma... nos checkpoints ali, dando suporte, apresentando ali também um pouco mais de material de inspiração, no começo aí mais voltado para a ideia, depois mais resolução de problema, né, Q&A com os devs em loco ali. Também vamos ter apoio assíncrono no plantão, mas vocês me corrijam aí, mas da última vez não precisou ficar on o tempo todo, não. O que importa é o game estar ali já no esquema no domingo. Também teremos a apresentação no domingo, um ponto aí que é aproveitar para falar. Domingo a gente tem a apresentação, ela não é obrigatória, mas a gente vai estar lá, é um bom momento de você esclarecer ali ideias, intenções, às vezes coisas que não dá para ver só entrando ali no mapa. Sempre ajuda uma apresentação. Não quiser, tenho pânico de falar em público, não quero, tudo bem, não tem problema, não te desmerece de forma alguma, mas quem quiser, teremos essa janela ali no domingo para apresentar de fato ali o mapa que foi feito. Isso pode ser que ajude também a esclarecer. Não ajudar em, pô, esse cara falou, merece mais pontos, mas mais em esclarecer pontos. A gente pode fazer perguntas também para algo que a gente não tenha entendido, deixado passar. E é isso. Mais alguém aí com dúvidas? Então, galera, show de bola. 42 minutinhos de live. Já estamos bem demais. Então, boa sorte para vocês. Amanhã estarei lá também no nosso Discord, fazer a synczinha. Estaremos aí ao longo dos próximos dias nas trincheiras com vocês. Boa sorte a todos e valeu. Tamo junto. Perguntinha nova aí. Arplay, posso tirar minhas dúvidas com vocês em horários fora da Jam? Vai ter um plantão com a equipe da Indie Hero e também o time da Surprise vai estar atuando de forma assíncrona para tirar dúvidas. Então, tem um canal de dúvidas lá, vão postando, surgiu isso, encontrei esse problema. A gente vai estar se desdobrando aqui também para ajudar vocês a concluir os games com sucesso. Maravilha, galera. Acho que é isso, então. Boa noite a todos, boa sorte amanhã. Aqueçam os motores que vem lá e bora. Inclusive, só um último lembrete, antes de fechar a live. A gente está aí com mais de 300 inscritos aí, então dá 100 times, por enquanto, de toda a América Latina. Então, putz, oportunidade muito legal também, eventualmente aí depois sagrando-se vencedor, dá para ter uma história bem legal para contar também. Estamos bem animados do lado daqui, bem felizes com o resultado e vamos embora. Valeu, boa noite, tamo junto. Até amanhã.